Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks for holding this hearing. I think this is an important topic that we should all discuss as we get ready to see what the budget is going to look like. Yes, our ability to get to scale and produce what we need to produce in the quantity it needs to produce is seriously in question. Whether you're talking about shipbuilding, munitions, across the board, there are considerable concerns about our ability to build what we need to build. I completely agree with your comments about the workforce. We need to do a better job of developing that workforce as we go forward and to get to that scale of production on critical items. Another big part of it, which I know this committee has done a lot of work on, is how quickly we make decisions and are able to adapt to new technologies and buy new equipment. The process is too slow. We all know that. We've talked about that repeatedly. The Pentagon is more focused on process, less focused on results. The defense industrial base is focused on sort of gaming the requirement system to make sure that they win, and we don't make decisions quickly. And Congress, of course, limits the flexibility of the Pentagon to get there. The other aspect of this, though, that I hope we'll consider is choices. When you look at all of the areas within DOD where we want to spend more money, and you can pick a member here who has a particular interest. If you're from a shipbuilding area, you will complain that we don't have enough ships. We talk about our jet fighters. We don't have the F-35 fast enough. And then when you look at all of the adversaries that we face and what our concerns are with China, with Russia, I think that's still a concern, with the Middle East, with various terrorist groups. And then you say, well, what do we need to meet those threats? The one thing I hope everyone considers here, we cannot possibly spend the amount of money and build what is needed to meet all of the threats that we keep talking about. It's simply not possible. So part of this needs to be thinking about what is our strategy? How do we manage the challenges that we face instead of imagining that we're somehow going to be dominant in the world and be able to deter everybody? We are not making choices in terms of what is a realistic defense strategy. We're not going to be able to dominate and overcome every single perceived adversary out there. So I hope we have some conversation this year about how we can restructure that and make different choices. And one key part of that is something that the chairman mentioned, allies and partners. They're going to be absolutely crucial. Now, in this particular context, they're crucial in terms of the industrial base. Allies and partners have capabilities. That's why I'm such a huge fan of AUKUS. Building that greater partnership with the UK and Australia. Yes, we'll build submarines, but also the technology sharing that goes into that enables us to rely on other parts of the world, other partners and allies. Now, it's important to have partners and allies who are willing to do that, so we can't go around offending all of them all the time. But we're going to need those partners and allies to do that. The last thing that I'd like to hear from our witnesses about is the impact of the DOGE approach to the Pentagon. I am concerned about that. To begin with, we need skilled workers. And now we are apparently going to add the Pentagon to the list of federal agencies where we're simply going to randomly fire people. Okay. Now, we're not going in there and saying who's good at their job, we need this particular talent, we need that particular talent. At the moment, we're just saying that we're going to fire the people who have been there for less than 2 years. I mean, that's not quality control. That can enter chaos into the process in a very unhelpful way. It's also become apparent that a lot of people are going to be fired based on their loyalty to the president as opposed to their ability. And trust me, that lesson will be learned by people at the Pentagon. And they will learn, okay, I don't have to be good at my job. I just have to suck up to the boss. And they will make that choice. That's not going to make us better. It's not going to make us more efficient or more effective. And lastly, any insights anyone might have on the proposed 8% cuts. Supposedly, it's going to be cut, from certain areas, I don't know where, and then added back into, quote, presidential priorities. But the clarity on that process just isn't there. I mean, nobody seems to know exactly what the point of that is, and yet we're talking about 8% of the budget that's going to be moved around. A little bit of clarity on this is what we're looking for, this is where it needs to go would help. So chaos is not going to help this process. I think we have 3 very, very highly qualified witnesses here today. Look forward to hearing from you about how we can be more efficient, more effective, and build what we need to meet our national security objectives. And with that, I yield back.